Welcome to a new episode of Findings, a new format on my LinkedIn channel. In this format, I regularly discuss the findings from research, from surveys that we as Adobe are doing in the market. And I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing this typically with an expert, a person, a leader in the space. And I will introduce that person in a second. So let me first introduce what we're going to talk about and what survey we're going to look at. So the range of studies and reports we are typically conducting together with partners is pretty broad. But the one survey I picked out for today's findings is our Digital Trends Report 2021. We are doing this since many years. I believe it's the 11th year that we are doing this right now. And in this study, we are sharing then insights around impressions and experience from the field, interviewing many leaders in the space, as I said, I will pick out one specific area of the survey and discuss this with a very strong leader in this space that I will introduce in a second. So what is the topic that I have picked out? So the past year has been a difficult one for many companies. It was difficult to predict the dynamics, and it still is, of this global pandemic. And we didn't know how the economy would recover, will it continue to recover, and so forth. So one of the most important questions for companies was how to keep in touch with their customers when stores are closed, when your sales rep cannot go visit the customer, when there are no trade shows, when there are no events, and so forth. So how to maintain this contact to customers in this pandemic. And today we will shift more towards a B2B scenario. You will hear in a second. Now, companies during this pandemic, and the one word I have heard many times, have developed resilience, an amazing level of resilience during this time. But what is also very interesting, that the leaders in the economy have also demonstrated inventiveness. Yeah? We have seen companies become innovative, and specifically in the digital customer experience space, we have seen customers thrive and do things that they haven't done before. So again, looking at digital trends, I picked now out one topic, and that topic is around the chapter of reorganizations. And like I said, companies showed resilience, they showed inventiveness, they've driven innovation. And we have seen in the survey that those companies who were more successful than the mainstream have also tackled areas of reorganization to be better set up for this new normal. And today I have invited, like I said a couple of times now, I have invited one of the leaders in this space who has also demonstrated in his company how they can thrive in this pandemic, and how he has driven specifically advances when it comes to customer interactions, customer experiences. So very warm welcome to my dear friend Ralf Belusa from Hapag-Lloyd. He's Managing Director for Digital Business and Transformation, and is digitizing this long-established company with 170 years of history in the space of logistics, very strong global player. And I know, Ralf, that we will learn from you that you have, even before the pandemic, started to drive a digital transformation because that was critical for the future and the success of your company. So I know that you are very close to technology, that you know a lot about digital transformation, but you also know that it takes more to drive change, that it takes, of course, the employees, the organization. And this is why the topic of reorganization and driving this change also with the teams is something that you have experienced and actually led through the pandemic. So very warm welcome. I hope I did the introduction okay. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much, Christoph, and thank you very much for having me. And I'm really looking forward to a great session, a great conversation.
Yes, me too. And let's start with a very broad question. Yeah, I framed already a bit the topic that we want to discuss, but if you look back at this last 12, 18 months, what was your experiences in your company at Hapag-Lloyd?
That's a good question, because I think really, as we are all experienced, it's really, we experienced the home office, the lockdowns, the hybrid work, and also on the other side, on the business side, really tough supply chains, high demands, also unsecurity, a lot of questions by the customers, how to work now, as you mentioned, that if the shops are closed or opened, or how the things are working, and not only jumping to online remote sessions and hybrid work. It's really also about the resilience, about to having a better customer connect at that time. So that we also experienced, that's why we also changed that. Is as the pandemic started, we directly transferred and opened our gates towards the customer, invited our customers, called our customers to be open for them, having an open ear to help them to talk to customers. And not mention now we need to figure out how we need to do it. No, it's just opening, talking to the customers, helping each other, supporting each other, and that really boosts also our customer channel in that aspect of both sides, helping existing customers, gaining new customers, because you help them with sales, marketing, technology. So that was also the experience during as the pandemic has started.
Yeah, that's interesting. In another survey we did, we divided up the companies in thrivers and hiders. So you definitely didn't hide. Yeah, you basically grabbed the bull by its horns, it seems, as a company, and started to reach out proactively and reach out to the customer. So that's quite interesting. So I know from our conversations we had in the past, even before the pandemic, when I visited you in Hamburg, that you already started that digital transformation before. So how did that help to have started already before the pandemic? So what was the digital starting point when this virus hit us 18 months ago?
Yeah. So thank you very much. That's really was some cornerstone, some lever, so that also IT, sales, digital marketing, all the colleagues in the countries, they did before, also during all the time, a fantastic job really to connect with the customer. But in the beginning, as I mentioned also in our last conversation, it was definitely to prepare always for the unexpected, for the agile work, to use these agile methods, 90 days, objective and key results, to work in a dynamic, interconnected way with all the global teams. And that really helps to adapt to these changes. If it's COVID, changing supply chain, changing customer demands, a company must be agile and should maneuver to the different aspects of the market demands, of the customer demands. That really also means customer centricity and have an ear and action and results for the customers. And that, if a company is really ready for that, that helps also then during the pandemic. That helped us really to scale faster, to adapt faster, also to start digital capability campaigns for our customers, which are, even as the pandemic started, to help the customers to step into the digital area, to help them to book online, to help them to get their documentation. And for this, if you are prepared, you can set this up in a couple of days and start that globally. Otherwise, if you're not prepared with all that kind of setups, it took weeks, months, years to step into that. And that was a big advantage, that we have prepared these agile adaptive modes to the organization.
That's very interesting. So to summarize, you had already that agile and global and customer-centric mindset started before the pandemic, and then that helped you, of course, enter this new normal. You mentioned in a few sentences that also the digital interaction was boosted. You helped your customers to book online and so forth. So how much of this digital foundation to interact with customers was already done, and how much did you have to actually build it then during the pandemic?
So from IT side and so on, we have really a strong foundation in the Hapag-Lloyd systems for years and build step by step on that. So that helps also in the pandemic to go from a digital perspective, helping our customers there, but also in the further development of additional services, additional products that really improved that, scaled that up, and supports the customer here. So that's why I think also it's really important to train and prepare the organization, the different organization parts, really train and prepare them for scaling up, scaling down, the changes, the continuous improvement, that they can adapt to this. And yeah, that makes it then also much easier. But we have had also a strong foundation, and building on that, it's then also much easier, also in terms of sales, IT, digital marketing. If you have the foundation and you can scale, okay, in India, it's currently not working well because of lockdowns or whatever, then you can shift that. You can pull that down, move that upwards. That's faster scaling up and down, and you can react to that, or you can shift customers, help customers from import, export, also in the different countries. And that makes them also then the big benefit for the customer and also for the company.
And it sounds that agility, that flexibility, that you can quickly react to new developments, because we have seen with the Delta variant in India and what happened there very tragically, you were able to shift because you had that digital customer foundation also from a technology perspective, and that people were used to using that already.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Or on both sides, because it's not by magic trick that now everybody is on the same spot, but it's really, if you have a foundation, and then, as I mentioned, you go into the training, you have your positive mindset of change, motivate the people to see, okay, let's train this, let's prepare for that, so that in the next iteration, in 2 weeks or so, or in 1 month, that we are prepared for the next step as one global group. That's why it's for us so important to have weekly, monthly, and 90 days, these kind of training, preparation, sharing these among all the different departments. That helps us to be safe, secure, and know what's for everybody the next step is.
Let me double click on this one, because actually in our survey, and I will now read the numbers here because I don't know them all by heart. So in our survey, that topic of helping to build up the digital expertise was a very interesting one. So in the trend report, in our digital trends report, we have seen that if we compare the mainstream with the CX customer experience leaders, that there's a difference. So the lack of digital experience was mentioned by 35% of the mainstream customers as an issue, only 22%, so 13% less of the CX leaders. Workflow issues, digital workflow issues, accounted to 42% for mainstream companies to problems, and only 29% for CX leaders. Again, 13% difference, which is quite high with a high population. And so lack of digital experience and workflow issues on the mainstream prevented companies from being more agile and also being able to offer better and quicker customer interaction and customer experiences. So, and you just mentioned that you had already a plan how to build this digital experience and also have workflow digitized. So how did you go about this more specifically? You mentioned these weekly, monthly, and 90 days trainings, but maybe you can give a couple of examples for the audience here, how specifically you went about building these digital experiences.
Wonderful. So
digital skills.
Yeah. Happy to share. And coming back to also the overview you gave with the digital experience, with 35% is also lacking in the digital experience, so to say. I would also widen that a bit, because it depends also on the organization, on the company. You have to really need a clear picture about your organization. And I would really say that sometimes the missing digital experience, the missing sales experience, marketing experience, IT experience, the holistic experience also with HR, how our organization works for growth and for customer centricity, that's even higher. So I would say also the digital expertise is also the missing digital expertise is with workflow issues, it's much higher. Sometimes to be very clear on that, because I realized that if we talk currently in the marketing sphere, let's take some words in the marketing sphere: programmatic, prospecting, real-time advertising, retargeting, combined with data algorithms, with AdaBoost, Random Forest, GPT-3 and 4. If a marketeer or a marketing organization haven't understood what I've told now, then you are not really in the topic of marketing. If we now switch over to the sales expertise, Do we talk about 90 days plannings, objective and key results, consultative selling methods, and so on, modern sales methods with combining online and offline? If you know, then you're on the right track. But if not, then it's becoming hard. On the IT side, cloud computing, multi-cloud computing, automation, machine learning, and all the algorithms together. And now it's about to combine technology, sales, marketing, online and offline. Then you need the understanding, and not talking about finance or HR, because that's also the topics in that. And that's why these kind of expertise you need to know. As a leader, as an employee, everybody together must have this knowledge more in a holistic view. It's not anymore these silo knowledge. I know my sales stuff, but I don't care about what's marketing doing. I don't care. I don't care also about the data part, but who works with data? So you need to step into that, because it's called also everything plus AI. So shipping plus AI, data, marketing plus AI, everything plus AI. And that's why this combination is so important. And that's why I think we must prepare the organization, the management, and the employees, and also the customers in this sphere of connecting us and helping here to get this expertise of interdisciplinary competencies, how to work together as an organization in the future.
You couldn't have teed up my next question better. So what kind of changes to the organization do you have to do to make that happen? That the different silos, quote unquote, are working together and have a better understanding. Did you change anything?
I think that it's a longer approach, because we could not change an organization by night. It's more or less a structured approach to go into that. First thing, what's really important is that culture in the organization, that you reduce that failure culture. We often talk about it's allowed to make failures and all that stuff, but to be really clear on that, you need to be allowed to make failures. Try that things out. And even if you try that things out for the 4th time and it's not working, that's also a great idea to see, okay, we tried that now the 4th time and it's not working. Let's try for another one. And that ties to the next point, to the second point, about that positive open mindset. It's not about, oh no, that's not working because of that, and the last 10 years it's also not working, and my colleague, well, it's either even not working on the topic. So you have that more negative or a conservative mindset to prevent that. So let's step into that. Do we have any clue about the topic? Not really, probably only a little bit, but the little bit is enough to start. And that's that positive. We try to find out the next step, because in that changing environment, or what we mentioned with the resilience, the things are new. And if things are new, it's probably the case that you don't know so much about it. That's why step positive into that. And then it starts to grow. It's like a small seed, and then you grow with learning, lifelong learning, continuous development. You step into probably set up some knowledge breakfasts with a couple of colleagues where you just talk about the topic, just sharing experience about some algorithms, about some marketing methods, about some sales initiative. Talk with different people about it. How do they feel about it? Think about it. And you will wonder what kind of contribution comes out sometimes out of this situation. And then further developing the organization with some kind of expertise sessions or digital weeks, digital days, and explaining that and motivate the people to see, to show them the benefits, and also collect the constructive feedback from them. Because such kind of things like agile working or objective and key results, that's not written in stone that everybody must to do that, like that's like the Bible that's in that. No, it's like we set this up, we tried it out, and if we have some improvements, then we have an adapted objective and key results framework, or an adaptive agile working methods working together. And that's how I think modern integrated companies are evolving step by step.
So you gave already several examples. So one thing is certainly leadership being communicated from the top, like you, stating that there's an acceptance of failure, and that you rather tackle things than asking for permission, I think the knowledge sharing sessions bring people from different experiences together doing this, are very good examples. Now, and all of that sounds already very innovative. So it sounds that there was not a specific reorganization in the classic sense that you need to move boxes and put people together, but you basically brought them together without changing the boxes in the org chart, but really gave them probably, and I'm suggesting this, probably joint tasks and objectives and OKRs that were spanning across the organization. Is that the right assumption?
Exactly. That's the one part, but also on the other side, because in large organizations or in mid-size companies, if you start something interesting or would like to talk about things, very often I see that, there are only a couple of people invited. There are the people which are always in this kind of meeting structure. Now with having that virtual meetings or hybrid meetings in combination, why not, if you have some interesting topic, interesting sales, marketing initiative to talk about, or data or IT, open that up and announced it and mentioned, if you like to participate and have just a 10-minute walk by, then come into that. And that we realized that in some meetings, we ended up with 350 colleagues from different departments, from HR, from finance, even if it's not their topic, but they have, I have 30 minutes time. Let's have a look what's inside that. And then it's interesting to see what's happening also with different colleagues from different countries and so on. You have a much better knowledge experience, knowledge sharing, and also next steps on adapting that to their daily work, probably in Italy or in France or in Latin America, because they talk about that stuff. And that gives a bit of that positive drive in the organization. It's not that topic of, top down, this is the task and this task needs to be fulfilled. That it's the way forward. But the fluid, the motivation, that's then in between to connect the people and help the people to grow and to become better.
And it sounds that the acceptance of having this virtual knowledge exchange, because there was no other way for a long time. You could not fly to Hamburg and have these exchanges physically. So the acceptance during the pandemic of doing this virtually probably facilitated, made it easier to bring people together, right? So it's logical. So
for sure. And because we have done that also not virtually to meet each other in certain areas and cities and so on. So that's good. But on the other side, what we experienced through the hybrid meetings, you can get at least, I would say, 20 to 30% more colleagues together. Because I have my next meeting in 1 hour. I could not fly over in 1 hour to Paris or London back and forth, and that's not possible. But to jump on a hybrid mode to that meeting, that's super cool. So you get more people together as in the past. That was really a clear learning. So on a global perspective, from Asia, Eastern Hemisphere and Western Hemisphere, we are much more connected now than before, because before, even from time zones, it's becoming a bit complicated sometimes. Too early or too late.
And that is going to stay at Hapag-Lloyd, right? That hybrid working is going to stay, even if at one day we can freely travel and do everything we used to do, right?
Exactly, because that helps our employees and also the customers, because if it's too early or if it's sometimes a bit late, if you're doing that at home or so, then it's much easier. Otherwise, you stay until 8, 9, 10 in the office. I think that's much better. If you have a longer lunch break and then you participate the evening at some meeting, that's a good combination.
Very interesting. So apart from that collaboration advancement, I would call it, is there another innovation that came out during the last 18 months at Hapag-Lloyd that you are proud of and that you believe will stay even if the pandemic is over?
So from my perspective, it's really we've done a couple of things. One is really with the quality promises to focus on the customers. So establishing with the quality promises clear goals for the customers to have timely and correct documentation, for example, really moving that forward. But on the other side, also improving the customer experience. because customer centricity with product ownership to become really a good foundation for the next decade. It's really co-developing our online products and services together with the customers. So starting directly co-developing that together with the customer, that will stay for the next time. Also working towards personas, the different customer types, improving also the experience directly for the different customer types. Because somebody who's doing customs clearance need other functionalities and another user experience than, for example, who's doing the documentation or booking containers. Different customer, but also on the other side, different customer types. It's a difference if you ship cars or apples and cherries and bananas. Is a bit something different, so to say. So having also more a holistic view on the customer journey for Hapag-Lloyd and for the customers. And the last thing I think is really what's really strengthening that all is adapting with the digital marketing, email marketing, prospecting, programmatic, social, what I meant before, to combine that complete with the customer journey. You have a better customer experience. So it's both sides, better customer experience to fulfill the life cycle better with that modern marketing technologies, modern sales technologies, because that all in all, also with IT, makes a better customer experience. But therefore, knowing the customers, bonding with the customers, and then co-developing that together, marketing, sales, technology, products with the customers together. That's really changing also the mindset, how we or how an organization works with the customers.
That's so inspiring. I'm glad I asked that question. Yeah. So better customer interaction, more customer centricity, co-development, persona-based customer journeys coupled with modern marketing and sales technology and digital interaction measures. Quite impressive.
And one thing, plus data, everything plus AI and data. Because it's then a bit more fact-based, you see, or you have some predictions, some forecasts. The algorithm predicts you what's happening probably in the next 2 weeks or 10 weeks. Then you can prepare a bit better. And then also, because from my point of view, it's not all about technology and data, because it's the human touch. Because we as humans, we can be creative. The data, the technology helps us humans to be creative. And that's a super cool part. So that's why also I meant all the time, it's people, technology, and creativity that really matters. But people at the first step, because we people, we drive the change. We drive what we would like to change, make that a bit better today, tomorrow, and the technology that helps us.
Let's leave it with that sentence. That's a beautiful closure. Thank you so much, Ralf. This was a lot of fun. It was very inspiring. And with you driving this advancement at Hapag-Lloyd, I'm sure the next 170 years for this company are going to be very, very successful as well. So thank you very much. Congratulations for all the things you have accomplished already. Would be pleased to maybe welcome you in this series in the future again. This was a very, very great, inspiring conversation.
Thank you very much, Christoph. It was my pleasure and looking forward to the next time and wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this brings us to the end of our episode. The discussion doesn't have to end now. So I look forward to hear your opinions and suggestions on the topics in the comment sections. And with that, see you next time and stay healthy, stay safe. Bye-bye.